Diego Pavia puts on a show, proves he's the best player in college football. Vanderbilt blasts Kentucky 45-17. Let's get in it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? We are live. Happy Saturday. Happy post-game. We are live, like I said, Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton, bringing over a decade's worth of experience in coaching and sports media with me. So thanks for making Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcasting network in the industry. So big time game. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down from all angles. Defense, they answered the call. They were tired of getting talked about. They answered the call. Diego Pavia had a career day. Trey Richardson, the same. And this was just total domination. This was a statement game. And I know it's Kentucky, but this was a statement game. Like I said, final score 45-17 today from the last game at First Bank Stadium. They finished the regular season undefeated at home. Can't say when the last time we could say that was, but here we are nonetheless. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So let's get into it. I was at the game. I was there in Section A, right down there near the front. I enjoyed every single touchdown that Vanderbilt scored, and it was a beauty. I mean, there was a bomb to Trey Richardson. There was an end around. There was a Pavia run. There was a pass to Richie Hoskins. I still don't understand how he caught it, and many, many more over that fade route to Junior Sherrill on the back pylon was a thing of beauty. I mean, Diego Pavia was throwing freaking darts all game long, man, and it was so much fun. The atmosphere was great, and it just, again, it was one of those experiences where you're thinking, okay, this feels like a real SEC game, and you haven't always been able to say that when you talk about Vanderbilt. And that is something that I think needs to be celebrated. Like, I think that when you look at how this team is, they're on the right track. I mean, you saw what happened. You saw the belief. You saw the team. They played hard. They went out and had it and got it done. And so that was very, very exciting, man. And this is going to be – this is a statement win, man. Sitting at 9-2, got one left. Tennessee, here we go, and they're beating the crap out of Florida right now as we speak. So, to see this comment right here, this is going to drive a lot of the conversation throughout the week. So, 10-2, SEC, you got to let them in, committee. I mean, that was just that game right there proved two things. One, Diego Pavia belongs in the Heisman race, and he belongs in one of those chairs in New York City. Two, this team is playing like a playoff team. The defense, like I said, answered the bell. So let's talk about Pavia. Pavia career day. It was unbelievable. Here's the stats on Pavia. 33 of 39, 484 yards through the air. He had 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 48 yards on the ground, 6 total touchdowns. He had 1 rushing touchdown. I mean, the last 3 weeks, it is stupid what he's been putting up the last 3 weeks. He put up 489 yards of total offense against Auburn. He put up, I think, similar, like over 400 yards himself against Texas, 377 through the air, and I think it was 389 through the air against Auburn, just shy of 400, but he rushed for over 100 against Auburn. So the dude is putting up video game numbers. The dude is putting up numbers that would lead you to believe he's in it for the Heisman, and he should be. I mean, you just look at him, you see this team and how they click when he's in there. He threw some NFL-worthy passes tonight. That pass to Trey Richardson, he sat in the pocket and stepped up and delivered an absolute beaut to Trey Richardson. I mean, dropped it. I don't think he could have walked up to him and placed it in his hands. any better than the way he threw it. I mean, it was a beautiful pass right on the money. It kept Trey Richardson in stride, kept his momentum going, and he was able to pull away and score a touchdown on that. It was absolutely outstanding. The fade ball to Junior Sherrill, it was like a Dixie Cup size of target that he had, the only place he could throw it. If he threw it an inch to the left, inch to the right, or an inch forward or an inch short, if he threw it an inch short, it's probably picked off. If he missed any other way, an inch in any other way, it's an incomplete pass, or it probably leads Junior Sherrill out of bounds. He put it in the exact spot that it needed to go. And I don't know, obviously when you're talking about Heisman, like you break down individual throws, like that doesn't really do much. But when you're talking about the talent level, when you're talking about next level, those are the type of throws that you look at. What does he do under duress? The strike he threw to Trent Hudson on that short post where, again, he stepped up in the pocket and delivered a rope right. I mean, and he layered the ball over a defender and put it in the soft spot right in the upfield number, right where that ball should have gone for Trent Hudson to catch it and get down before he got leveled by the defender. The interception wasn't great. It was a ball. He sailed it a little bit. Receiver tipped it up in the air and made it easy for their DB to catch it right there towards the end. I think he was just probably trying to press and try to get those numbers and get down the field and score one more time. I think he got a little too greedy on that throw. But for the most part, if you're breaking down his performance, that throw was the only thing that you could say was not good. But, I mean, God almighty, like Diego Pavia just took that game over. And just when people thought, Kentucky has a chance. They're sitting at 5 wins. They've won 4 in a row. They're fighting for bowl eligibility. They're scrappy. Cutter Boley is this. Cutter Boley is that. And, Pavia said, you know what? I don't care about any of that. I'm going to go out here and ball out. I'm going to go out here and contribute 500 yards of total offense, right? And prove to you that this is good, right? And I don't think we know that. We don't. I mean, some of the throws he made, some of the things he did, we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that said that are not good enough. I think he's earned himself a chance. I mean, I'm not saying he's a guaranteed starter. That's a tough thing to say about an NFL quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks that never made it. So, all I'm saying is he was making some NFL throws tonight, and I don't know if he can do that on a consistent basis in the NFL. That remains to be seen, but you know what happens when you doubt him. That's something to keep an eye on. But man, this is an exciting game because like it was one of those where the pressure was on, the playoff atmosphere pressure was on. Right, this is one of those games that you had to have. This is one of those games that in the past Vanderbilt loses. This is one of those games that, like, okay, here we go. Like, this is where you show your playoff team. And Diego Pavia against Kentucky, you go and show, hey, this is a conference team with a pesky defense, and you're going to show that, hey, you belong in that race, and you're either going to show it or you're not. And Kentucky's one of those teams that makes it very easy to struggle against. Like they can play that type of game, and they're pretty sporty on defense. They were missing Alfari tonight, big time. He's an important piece of that defense. He was out, and they were missing him badly. So, but Diego Pavia went on and said, "You know what? Okay, you need me to do that? I'll carve it up." Man, I'm so excited! I can't even get the word out. I'll carve him up, and we'll serve it up, and we'll get ready for Tennessee next week. And they made quick work of Kentucky there, and just it was never in doubt. Never in doubt with that game. And, they just put the foot on the gas and kept it there. And the passing game just continues to improve week in and week out. Junior Sherrill had a big day. Trey Richardson came back. Eli Stowers had a big day as far as catches goes. I didn't get into the end zone, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's going to be incredible. And this question right here, and I'll answer this. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't watch it on TV. I was there, and then I was probably on my way home from the game when all that was happening. So I don't know if he actually did or not. Wouldn't surprise me if he did make a pitch for Jared Curtis. And if Jared Curtis is watching this, and there's a lot of speculation out there that he might flip. And if he's watching this offense go, he might strongly consider it, because this offense is evolved past whatever we thought it was going to be back at the beginning of the season, like a ball control type offense where it's just run the ball, take the ball out, take the air out of the ball type situation, and just see what you can get in the passing game, but mostly just live and die on the run game. That's not what this offense is right now. This offense is explosive, and if you have the right 5-star explosive quarterback, well, you could just make this thing go. So that's exciting. And this team is exciting. This offense is exciting. I mean, guys were just showing out everywhere, and the rushing stats weren't overly great. And we'll break down like the total stats and things like that when we. I'm gonna take a quick break here, and we'll come back. But Diego Pavia, Heisman worthy night. Honestly, he's had a Heisman worthy stretch of 3 games stat wise. I mean, unfortunately, the Tech didn't win the Texas game. I don't know if that's going to put a damper in his efforts or not. That's up to the voters, and that remains to be seen. But he deserves to be in one of those chairs at the very least. I mean, he's proving that at the very, very least. Mendoza's a pretty dang good quarterback up in Indiana, and he's going to be tough to beat. He was already in the pole position. He's going to be tough to beat, but Pavia is right there nipping at his heels. I mean, it's just hard for anyone to tell me that you got a 9-2 Vandy team with a chance at the playoffs, and all they have to do is win against Tennessee, essentially get some help. But you go 10-2 in this league with Diego Pavia playing the way he's playing. It's hard to tell me he's not at the very least a finalist, and that should make a statement right there. If I'm a big time quarterback, maybe down the road at Nashville Christian, or somebody that's about to jump in the portal, it's hard. You look at this, and it's hard to say no. But we're going to talk more about this offense. We're going to talk more about this effort tonight, the crowd, all that good stuff. We're going to talk more about that here next. First, I want to talk to you about Game Time. That's right. College football, man, is back. I can't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands. There's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. Man, that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. Now, I pulled up Game Time in just a couple taps. I saw amazing deals, man. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. Man, that just blows me away. And this app is super simple as well. I could see the exact view from my seat before I bought. And that's my favorite feature. And zone deals, man, you pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, less stressful than any other way that I've bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. Thanks for making Locked On number one in the industry when it comes to sports podcasting. It's because of y'all. That's the answer. It's because everyone out there listening and making an effort to tune in, not just to this show, but shows around the network. It's because of you. Now, Vanderbilt blasts Kentucky, 45-17, Pavia. Another career day. I'm going to flash up these stats one more time because this is just impressive, man. 33 of 39, 484, 48 yards on the ground on 15 carries, 6 total touchdowns. He did have the 1 interception, but that doesn't ruin what was a brilliant game against the Kentucky Wildcats. Those are Heisman numbers. Let's just be real about it. And people don't want to accept that. Those are Heisman trouble. Those are Heisman Those are Heisman numbers. And it's, I think this is a team that's, obviously they're going to need a lot of help. But you go 10-2, it's just, you just let the committee figure out where it goes. And it's going to be interesting after next weekend and after the conference championship games, just to kind of see how everything unfolds. I'm not sure exactly how it all unfolds. I think there's a lot to be answered. I think if Cincinnati can beat BYU, that will go a long way in determining just what this committee looks at. I don't know. And, and losing to Texas made it a long shot, but it's, the playoff thing is out there, and you just have to figure out like what works, what doesn't, like what, it's going to be kind of crazy for the committee, to be honest with you. And crazy to see what happens with Ole Miss and the Lane Kiffin situation. Like, I don't know how that's going to affect things. You got Alabama sitting there. They've got a game upcoming at Auburn. That is always tricky no matter what the records are. I don't think they're going to lose, but that's always tricky. Oklahoma, I don't know that Oklahoma's going to lose to LSU. You need it badly. You got to root for LSU, but I don't see that happening. LSU is they're in quit mode. I don't even know. I saw a score pass by, and it's probably changed, but there was a score where I think they were down 3-0 or something to Western Kentucky. So that was not ideal. But this is it's going to be an adventure to finish 10-2 and to be in consideration. I think that goes a long way, and it'll be interesting to see how the committee sees this game and sees this performance. And when they come out with their rankings on Tuesday, to see how they reshuffle the deck. If Cincinnati can do us a favor and knock BYU out of the way, that would be a huge gesture. A&M has Texas next week. So that, they still got to win that game in Austin. I don't know that knocks them out of the way, but it just makes things interesting. Georgia's sitting there. They don't have any conference games left, but they've got Georgia Tech next week, and that game's always pesky. Now, Georgia Tech doesn't look too great right now. Here's the latest college football rankings, or here's the latest. Here they go. Here's the latest from last Tuesday that I saw. But Oregon took care of business. Notre Dame, holy cow, dude. It's 55-0. I felt like 2 minutes into the game. Utah, that didn't help that they won. I think Kansas State had them on the ropes and let them slip away. Texas Tech keep winning. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. This is the ranking, but anyway, that is kind of how the playoff thing. So that'll be something we talk about all week. Got Tennessee coming up. That'll be something. But here's the tail of the tape right here. All right. Vanderbilt, 606 yards of total offense, 539 through the air, 65 on the ground. Kentucky, 315 yards of total offense, 284 through the air, 34 on the ground. Pavia, again, 33 of 39 for 484 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Blaise Berlowitz completed 4 of his 5 passes for 56 yards. Not a bad effort from him. It was mop up duty, so can't read too much into that. The concerning thing, I guess, if you had to have a concerning thing here in this game, not to throw cold water on this, but Diego Pavia and Blaise Berlowitz were your leading rushers. So they're gonna have to kind of, I guess that can be the thing you point to this week, and to kind of ease the egos down a little bit. But Trey Richardson, 6 catches, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Scored all 3 of them in front of me. Junior Sherrill, 8 catches, 115. He had a touchdown. And you had Cedric Alexander, 4 catches, 59 yards. Cole Spence got in there with 3 catches and 48 yards there. Eli Stowers, 6 catches, only 36 yards, but he had some meaningful plays there that converted third downs into first down. So great stats there. The defense they answered the call, man. They really did. They answered the call. They were talked about, much maligned, whatever you want to say. The defense was just in a rut the last 3 weeks. Since Texas, Auburn, those two games, those are two really, really bad games for the defense where they just kind of looked lost. They couldn't tackle, combination of both. They couldn't get the calls in. It just felt like tonight, or this afternoon, really, they simplified a lot of things. And I think that goes a long way. I think the calls were simpler. I think they did a good job of communicating. I think they were certainly aggressive. They certainly constricted the space. That was my biggest key for the defense, was to constrict that space and not let Kentucky have any momentum, anywhere to go. They were blanketing receivers. They were getting after Cutter Boley. They were shutting down the run game, and they just did all of those things to shut down Kentucky. Now, when the backups came in, the backups gave up 2 touchdowns. The against Kentucky starters, and so the end of the game, when it's like 45-3, and you're just kind of looking at it, and there's a lot of backups in there, and you're just like, okay, well, they're just getting experience, so it's hard to really gauge. Like, you look at the final score and the final stats, and you're like, okay, well, this is not that great. But I thought first 3 quarters, this defense looked like itself again. They were flying around, they were having fun, they were making plays, and they were just hitting. It was physical again. And it just felt like they were themselves in the defense that we had grown accustomed to this season with Vanderbilt. Tough, hard-nosed, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and forces you to earn your yards. And Kentucky couldn't do that. And it was pretty evident. And the momentum built and built and built, and offense just jumped right all over them. And that's what it was. So, looking back at my keys to the game, offense, maintain momentum that you've had from the last few games, explosive plays, controlling line of scrimmage, things like that. Big time, check. All right, defense, eliminate space, make it difficult on Boley, take away the quick stuff, tackle, limit chunk plays. Big time, check. And then also the last key was, big check, right? They made a statement. I don't know where that takes us. I don't know where that goes, but committee. So Seth, committee comes out Tuesdays. The college football rankings come out Tuesday evening. The AP coaches poll stuff comes out tomorrow, but the committee, the CFP stuff comes out on Tuesdays. So that's the one that you really, really need to look at. All right. Now, when we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to answer some questions. I'm going to tell you about FanDuel here in just a second. I'm going to check on my picks. So stay right there. All right. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel, man. The NBA is back. College football is here and raging on. NFL. There's a lot of stuff for you to get into on FanDuel. And that's why and it's also the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you miss the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, honestly, when your team's making that late push, all of that. So what did my picks do this week? Well, those are my week 11 picks. Those probably didn't do well. But my picks, Oklahoma, did they cover 17-6? Yes, they covered that. Texas, I don't know what the final was on that. I'll have to look that up later. And then Coastal Carolina will that'll be to be determined on that. But those were my FanDuel picks there. And if you played on FanDuel, I hope you won. Again, right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, wrap it up here. It's a live edition. Again, Kentucky goes down. Vanderbilt blasts them. 45-17 is your final. Diego Pavia, over 500 yards of total offense, and accounting for 6 touchdowns, 5 through the air, 1 on the ground himself. The defense limited at one point. I took a picture of this. At one point, right before halftime, I thought this was kind of crazy. Right before halftime, you had Vanderbilt had 303 yards of total offense on 35 plays. Kentucky only had 54 on just 28 plays. So the play count was even. But man, oh man, it was unbelievable how just how dominant Vanderbilt was in the first half, how dominant they were in the third quarter, and then the JV game took place. But yeah, so I think it's going to get interesting down the stretch. Let's just put it that way. Kentucky, they're going to get bowl eligible against Louisville. I think that's going to be one of those games where it's a rivalry. Kentucky is the worst team in the SEC, but they haven't been playing like the worst team in the SEC the last few weeks. I mean, they've been on fire. I mean, say what you want to about them, but I mean, 38-3 against Florida, and Florida has a much better roster than they do. I mean, they certainly showed you some things. Now, they certainly came back down. They regressed back down to the mean a little bit, and Vanderbilt jumped all over them, and Vanderbilt took advantage of that. So that's something you have to, also kind of consider as well. The real test is going to be next week when they play Tennessee. That's who's up next. They're absolutely thrashing Florida at this moment. So that'll be interesting to see. Both teams are, Tennessee has, I think, 8 wins. They will have 8 wins coming into that game. Vanderbilt sitting at 9-2. That's going to be a fun one, man. And a bizarre headline there of Tennessee playing spoiler to Vanderbilt with their college football playoff hopes. So it'll be a fun week nonetheless. It'll be one of those last statement wins, and let's go there. But yeah, UK thrashed Florida, which that's and Florida, they're getting it handed to them by Tennessee, but Tennessee's good. So I mean, that's no surprise there. Tennessee is explosive. They're good. I'm not surprised in the least bit that that's happening. Now, playing in the swamp, I thought it'd be I thought they kind of get off to a slow start. They didn't. I mean, they're just all over. They're just all over Florida right now, and that's Florida's done, man. They're just waiting to get to the offseason. That game with Florida State next week is going to be a pillow fight. So that'll be their best day will be next Sunday when they can hire a new coach. So that'll be interesting though. Neyland Stadium place is going to be electric. It always is. So that's no surprise as we go. But again, man, this game was a lot of fun. It was a great way to end the home slate. 8, undefeated at home. That is how you do it, right? That's how you have a good season. That's how you reward this group of portal guys. And I think there's a lot there for Vanderbilt to be excited about. There's a lot for this team to celebrate, but they got one more left. They got one more at Tennessee to wrap up the regular season and then see where their fate lies, right? And unfortunately, it's out of the control. Unfortunately, there's a lot of help that needs to be had there, and there's a lot of help that's still on the way. Maybe LSU can come through, knock them out of the way. Maybe Stanford can come through. Not likely on either of those two, but maybe they can. Crazier things have happened in college football. Maybe whoever Utah plays next week, maybe they can come through. I'm not sure who they play. I'll look at it later on this week, but there's a lot that can happen between now and when the selection stuff happens. But all Vanderbilt needs to worry about is this: go to Neyland Stadium and score one more point than the Volunteers. That's all that matters. You go into that environment against that team and you win. That's another statement. I don't know if all these statements are going to add up. However, you got to build your best resume that you possibly can, and Diego's got to build his best resume that he possibly can for New York. Combine all that stuff together, have it ready there for the committee, and just let the chips fall where they may. I'm not guaranteeing a playoff spot, but you got to be 10-2 before you're even considered. And I mean, this might be a year where a lot of SEC teams get in. The ACC is not going to get more than one. If somehow BYU can lose tonight, I don't know that the Big 12 is going to get more than one. Utah's got to get out of the way. I don't know that a 2-loss Utah and a 2-loss Vanderbilt, I think that might go in favor of Vanderbilt. So we'll see. But it'll be exciting nonetheless. It's just, I find it hard to believe that you get a 10-2 SEC team, committee's going to keep them out. So, here we are. But anyway, fun game tonight. Be excited, celebrate this one. Tomorrow, we're going to turn our attention to Tennessee. We're going to turn our attention to Tennessee for sure. And it's going to be an absolute exciting week. It's going to be an exciting week. And got to win. And let's get it done. All right. But that's where I'm going to leave you guys. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Saturday night if you're joining me live. If you're catching this later, hope you have a great rest of your weekend. We're gonna come back to you fresh Monday with a look at Tennessee, with a look at what we learned from this experience and what we can move forward with all the things that Vanderbilt's involved in, all the races that Vanderbilt's involved in right now. We'll take a look at how all of those are impacted by the weekend's results, by the committee, by the polls, all of that stuff. We're going to look at all of that all throughout next week. Enjoy a great Turkey Day. And then, of course, get you ready for the matchup at Neyland Stadium. But until next time, thank you for joining. Like, subscribe. Thank you for participating. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, anchor down. Peace.